I got off on the wrong side of bed this morning, and I can already sort of hear you asking, how on earth can you get up on the wrong side of bed when you've got views like this? Well, I'm feeling okay now, but this morning I just felt a little bit, I don't know, a bit frustrated, and I thought I'd go for a ride today on the motorbike just to clear my head a little bit, and ended up down here at Jimbaran Bay, or Jimbaran as the locals would say. Those A's are pronounced with a sound, Jimbaran. And that's what it looks like at the moment. It looks pretty good. This is where all those seafood restaurants are and that sort of stuff. And if you go really much further up there, there's a guy waving to me under the umbrella, a bit of a dance. If you go a lot further up there, you get to a place called Kadonganan, where they have those fish markets where you can buy your own fish at the market and get them grilled locally for a much cheaper price than a lot of these restaurants. But most people can't be bothered doing that, so they go to these restaurants anyway. So what I'm going to do today is go for a walk along this main street up here. So this street fronts the water's edge, or basically runs parallel to the beachfront. And then so as I walk down, on your right, there'll be all the fish restaurants and seafood restaurants, and on the left, there'll be a few hotels and who knows what, because I haven't been down this area for such a long time and explored it, that I'm pretty interested to see what it's like these days. Hello, no thanks mate, thank you. Well, I don't know. I mean, is it still pretty old school like it was, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, or is it sort of modernised a bit? I mean, when I see these sorts of storefronts, these are what I remember from 20 years ago, more or less. I mean, I've been down here since, but I haven't really explored it too much. That's the plan today. So you might want to know why I was a little bit frustrated this morning when I woke up. Well, it's all to do with the way things here are in Bali is different to what I'm used to. And a lot of you will probably be familiar with that as well, but my experience here in Indonesia is coming from Java, where it's culturally a little bit different and the ways things work are a little bit different here in Bali. And of course, if you're coming from the Western world to live in a place like Bali, you're going to experience some culture shock or some differences in the way that you do things as well. Hello, boss. And all my issues are to do with is a bloody pump. And pumps, if you live in Indonesia, are the bane of your existence, because they always break and you're always replacing them, always trying to get them fixed, and it never works properly. It's ridiculous, I know. I mean, if that's the worst thing you can complain about in your life, you're having a pretty good life, but that's just why I'm frustrated, because the thing is here in Bali is that getting people, a tukang, to fix things is a lot more complicated or a lot more difficult than it is in somewhere like Java. Now, you always need like a contact that you can rely on for getting stuff done around the house, and we've got those. In Bandung, we could just call any number of people and we'd contact friends who'd put us onto someone else, and you'd always find someone reliable to come over and just almost at the drop of a hat get stuff done. But here in Bali it's a little bit different, I find. Now, I don't know if that's because there's so much money floating around, or if everyone's busy on building sites, or maybe, you know, people aren't sort of like as much like that around here compared to what it is in Java. I don't know. So I still have a dodgy pump and I can't get it fixed, and if it doesn't get fixed soon, I'm going to be out of the house in a hotel, because the thing is here in Indonesia is that most people have water which is drawn from a well underground, and you have a pump that draws it out of the well and pumps it around the house, and when that goes, you've got no water for anything, can't even have a shower, and then yeah, you've got to get it fixed like urgently. So I'm at a pretty important point there with that pump. I don't know, I still hasn't got it fixed. Main issue is that people don't turn up when they say they're going to turn up. That sounds exactly like Australia, doesn't it, with tradesmen. Tradesmen say, oh yeah, I'll come and have a look, and then they don't turn up, and you give them a call and say, what happened? And they're like, oh yeah, got busy, got caught up. Yeah, same sort of thing here, I guess, but in Java it's not like that. So for me to adjust, that's where the frustration comes in. And I think that's a pretty good lesson for everyone, is that when you move to a new place and things are different to how you've experienced them in the past and in your previous area, you're going to have some frustration, and that's okay to have that frustration. It doesn't really mean anything. It just means that things are different and you're allowed to be frustrated with it, to be honest. But as I said, it's not a big deal. Like here I am in Bali, loving walking around the place. So that's that, isn't it? I'm not seeing a heap of interesting stuff around here, to be honest. There's all these seafood restaurants, and everyone's probably got their favourite one and the favourite recommendation from a driver. What I find quite interesting about this place is that the beach along here is so good that it's a little bit surprising that this hasn't sort of been developed into hotels or something like that. Here we go, we've got some loaders, front end loaders here. I reckon they're doing rubbish cleanup, but I'm not even sure of that. It might be moving sand around and that sort of stuff. Yeah, look at them go. 3 loaders. I think they're doing a bit of digging around the place, moving sand around, that's what I think. Although that guy's picked up sand and rubbish in his. It's a beautiful beach though, isn't it? It looks just glorious. So even though I'm far south of what I thought was Kadonganan, because people always call the fish market area Kadonganan and this more like Jimbaran Bay, I'm still in Desa Adat Kadonganan because I can just see a sign back there on the temple that says this is Desa Adat Kadonganan. So I wonder how far this goes. Well, this is the thing about these Desa Adat, they can go miles and it sort of overlaps what you might call an area administratively. My memory of this area of Jimbaran Bay was that there are a lot more hotels. Like there's one there, it's called Jimbaran Bay Beach Resort. I just thought I remember a lot more hotels along here. I remember in 2010 I went and had a look at one along here somewhere, and it felt like it was about 20 years old at that point and a little bit run down and like you wouldn't really want to stay there. I haven't seen that yet. Oh, what's that? Kapeni Coffee and Eatery. Might have a look at that, see if I can get a coffee there. Actually, scrap that. Gonna pass that by. It looked a little bit quiet, honestly. Just sort of like, I can't be bothered going into that one. We'll find another one up here. So quiet though, I'm surprised. I mean, I've never stayed here before, so it's a bit unfamiliar to me. I know that a lot of people like to live in Jimbaran now, but when they say Jimbaran, they're not talking about this area here. They're talking about inland. And Jimbaran, or what's called Jimbaran, goes for miles inland and up the hill a little bit also. So, yeah, it's one of those things. When you live in a place versus when you're staying there on holiday, a bit different. Okay, I've got a little sign here. Who's this from? Okay. This is from Bandesa Adat Jimbaran. So from the head of the Desa Adat Jimbaran, he has said this year in February that the Desa Adat forbids all forms of online transport to hang around here. Yeah? That's basically it. And then they've got some sanctions if you disobey those rules. That's the sort of thing that happens with the Desa Adat in Bali, is that they have a lot of power. They're not just like, you know, a religious thing or anything like that. They've got real power, even though they're not the administrative part of the government. They're not even part of the government at all. They're just elected by the local officials. They're elected by local residents to represent them in sort of a traditional sense. So there's a bit of an overlap between what the government administratively does and then what the traditional village does. And it actually causes a little bit of, when I say conflict, I don't mean like fighting. I mean there's some sort of, there's like overlaps which are sometimes a little bit unresolved between what the government should do and what the traditional village should do. Oh, look at this. There's a bit of a ceremony going on here. It's a big one. That is a big one. Palaganjur going past there. I think back in the day, in the southern end of the beach, were all the fancier seafood restaurants, more expensive and a little bit more upmarket. And then I think in the north, they were the more warung style. I'm not sure if that's still the case. So I'm getting fairly far south now. And they don't look a heap different to the ones in the north, to be honest. Although I've got to say, the ones in the north these days do look a little bit more upmarket than they used to when I first went there. When I first went there, it felt like a true warung, and a lot of them now up in the north feel a lot more like restaurants. So maybe that's why it feels a little bit similar. There's no one here. Well, I mean, what time is it? Well, it's sort of in between breakfast and lunch, so it makes sense that there's no one sort of hanging around. There's a little coffee shop there that's closed called Rupa. It's all a bit quiet. Hello. Lagi apa? Nongkrong. Yeah. So that's really still fishing village style, isn't it? Look at that. Still fishing village style here. Amazing that in the heart of the south you can still have this traditional fishing village type stuff going on here. Well, that's nice. Some public toilets. I wonder if you have to pay to go to those ones. I'm not even sure if you do. It's pretty cool. There's a hotel there. Looks pretty cool as well. It's a bit old school, but I think that often in Bali means, if it's being maintained well, means it has a lot of character. They feel quite good quite often. The only question is, has it been maintained? And if it has, that looks like a good hotel. It's called the Kraton. Kraton's an interesting word as well. One of the words that you hear in Java when talking about the royal court. And there are some royal families in Java that still exist to this day. They used to have their own sort of fiefdoms back in the day prior to Indonesian independence. Some of them retained that power, others didn't. For example, the kingdom of Solo didn't retain power, whereas the kingdom in Yogyakarta did. I don't know why. I mean, they had agreements. So when independence happened in Indonesia, all the separate independent bodies and islands and sultanates and kingdoms and all that sort of stuff got together and agreed on how they were going to form Indonesia as a coherent nation, which is quite remarkable really, given how many people were involved in getting their independence from the Dutch. But they did it, and some people got special deals where they got to keep some power and other people didn't. Some other people wanted power, they weren't given it, and then they fought. So for example, in Aceh, that's a really interesting story, because even though it's part of Indonesia, they do have a lot more autonomy there to implement their own rules outside of what Indonesia implements. There's the beach there, so that's getting down onto the Bukit over there. That's a pretty famous hotel over there. Hello. The beach is looking pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Nice. It's actually not too dirty either, because I think the wind's blowing a different direction these days. So because we're in the dry season, the wind's blowing the opposite direction. This can get quite a lot of rubbish on it in the wet season. Beautiful. Really looks nice. So this is in the parking area just attached to the fence of this hotel. Dilarang membuang sampah di sini. It is forbidden, dilarang, I think we already learnt that word before. Membuang is to throw. Or it's discard of, actually, not throw like that. That's melempar. Membuang is to discard of. Sampah di sini. Sampah, rubbish, di sini, here. That's a pretty easy one, isn't it? And they're basically saying, look, please respect our beach. Like, you're a visitor here. So if you're coming and parking your bike, you don't just go and throw rubbish on the ground. We've got to go and clean it up. That's fair as well, isn't it? I mean, it's the same all over the world. You don't want people coming to your place and throwing rubbish around. So the guy there was just sweeping up, and he was telling me, you know what, in the wet season, this beach is filled with rubbish because the wind blows in the other direction, and we've got a crisis with rubbish here in Bali, and we don't have the solutions yet, which is a little bit sad, isn't it? A little bit sad. I'm actually going inland a little bit now because the path stops there, or the road stops there. I can walk along the beach, but I think I might just go inland a little bit, see if I can get up to the main road. So there is a road that runs parallel to the beach further inland. So I was walking almost directly on the beach, but there's another road parallel further inland. It's the old road that goes up into Uluwatu. And people still use that to go up into Uluwatu. Yeah, I was just thinking about the way I said Uluwatu, because someone commented to say that it's a real sort of like, it's like having a mouthful of, I think they said marbles or something like that, trying to get your mouth around how to say Uluwatu. And yeah, it is a bit difficult because of the way those U sound have to be made, Uluwatu. I don't know, how do we say it in English? Uluwatu? Uluwatu? Well, that's actually the correct way, isn't it? Uluwatu. Uluwatu. Ulu, I don't know. I don't even know how you're supposed to say it in English, so I just say Uluwatu. I sometimes say it wrong as well. I sometimes say Ulawatu, which would be wrong. It's Uluwatu. So that hotel I was just walking along there is called the Jimbaran Bay. And then there are like a couple of little restaurants and stuff along this side road up here, which is interesting. It's a weird little area because I'm not seeing, like I've seen a couple of tourists walking around, but hardly anyone. They seem a little bit lost. There's not really much else going on around here. It's a funny place because it feels like one of those places that might have been busy 30 years ago, but not so much anymore. But the thing is, because it's so close to the airport and it's in the south, it has a good location. The beach is still beautiful, but I'm not sure what's sort of gone on over the last 30 years that sort of, I don't know, made it sort of die off a little bit. It feels odd, to be honest. I get the impression that a lot of these places have died off a little bit, like Jimbaran. Lovina certainly died off like you wouldn't believe. These places have died off a little bit, mainly because of the way that we travel these days. We used to go and have very innocent beach holidays, cheap beach holidays, and you'd be happy to go down to the beach and sunbake, go for a swim in the ocean, have a few beers, and that was enough. As long as it was cheap, you had some sun on the beach, that was good enough. But I think a lot of people don't actually like going to the beach now. We like to go to the beach front, but not necessarily on the beach as much as we used to. I think Europeans still love that, maybe because some of those countries don't have very good beaches. Like if you're coming from somewhere like Liechtenstein, which is a landlocked mountainous country, of course you're gonna want to go to the beach. But if you're from Australia, you know, you're probably a bit worried about getting sunburnt these days more than you used to be. You might be putting on a hat like I do, whereas in the past I would never have worn a hat. You're putting sunnies on, whereas in the past I wouldn't have done that. You might put some sunscreen on. You don't really want to get sunburnt. Oh, what's here? That gate's open. Have a look. Oh, it's a soccer field. I won't be able to get out of there if I go through there, so keep going. Go up this main road. So I think because of that simple beach holiday thing isn't really a thing anymore. And when you remove that from a place like Lovina, what have you got left? Ooh, something blew up just over there. And then if you remove it from a place like Jimbaran Bay, what are you going there for? You sort of ask yourself, what else is in Jimbaran Bay? If you remove that beach holiday, there's the seafood, but people are coming there for like just going there for a feed at night, and they're actually usually staying somewhere else. My plan was to go that way and walk down there, but I'm just hearing gamelan or baleganjur at the moment, and I'm not sure if there's some sort of ceremony going on over here. That looks to me, I don't know, but I've got a funny feeling that might be a cemetery to my left in there. And if I can hear something going on as far as a ceremony goes, maybe it's related to that one I saw earlier, maybe I should just go and have a quick look. I can see smoke, and where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a bit of smell in the air as well, so I'm pretty sure we know what's going on here. There's a cremation going on, that's what's going on. Have a bit of a look. I can see some flames licking over the top of that fence there. We'll see what happens. Oh, I can't get in. Can't get in. I'll just go up here, have a look. Yeah, there's a big fire over there. Big fire. Oh, it's a bit old school too. Yeah. So I think the entrance must be, entrance is from the side there. I can have a bit of a look. Usually, it's no big deal to sort of have a look at these things if you'd be respectful. I think that's really important with all of this stuff. It's just maintain respect. So what the Balinese want most of all is to not be treated like dirt. So we'll do that. We'll treat them with utmost respect. And if it feels uncomfortable to go in there for whatever reason, yeah. Okay, this is a funeral ground for sure. That there on fire, it just looks like a rubbish pile to me. I don't think that's the actual cremation. I think there is going to be one, but on there was like bags of clothes and stuff. So I don't think that's the real thing. Anyway, we'll keep going. I mean, that's something that I think is worth looking at. You know, when I'm walking around, I just have a little peek and see what's going on with these little ceremonies every now and then, because I'm genuinely interested in in what they're doing. The dead giveaway on a lot of these things is that if you see the word Setra, yeah, if you see that word S-E-T-R-A, you know it's a graveyard. And what happens there, it depends on what's going on at that particular time, but often there'll be cremations there, but sometimes there'll be burials there as well. So depending on the village, because every village has their own customs, some villages will bury their dead first and dig them up later and burn them. It might be many years later. Some of them don't, they burn them straight away. So it just depends on the particular culture of the village and the rules and so forth. I know that one had graves in it for sure, so people had been buried there. So I would assume that they will be dug up at some other point when money sort of, when the families have got enough money, they will then do a cremation. And sometimes they'll do cremations, like a mass cremation, where you can share the costs. But it's quite expensive to do one of those ceremonies. So that sign up there is for Chucha. I actually walked past it on that road coming up from the beach, and it's regarded as one of the better restaurants in all of Bali, fine dining style. Just thought I'd mention that because I did forget to mention it when I passed it back all the way back there. So this is the main road. It's not really got a heap of like shopping or stuff to do on it. Like, yeah, it's just a straight through road almost. The good thing about it though is that if you're staying in a hotel anywhere near here, there's lots of local food around, lots of local warungs. Ooh, gorengan. We love our gorengan. Heaps of local warungs here. There's food from Sumatra. I saw something from Surabaya, from Solo, all sorts of different places. Like you can get everything you really want here. Local food at local prices. I reckon it'd be pretty nice too. Like it's the real deal stuff around here. Spotted a place called Caribou Coffee Friends here. I don't know if that's supposed to be here or here. Ah, it's there. That's closed. That one, I thought, oh yeah, I'll go and drop in and have a bit of a coffee, but I won't because it's closed. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Nasi kuning enak. Looks good. And then over there, you've got a big supermarket, the Coco supermarket, if you say it Indonesian style, Choco, there'll be Coco. Heaps of little warungs around here. So we're getting closer to where the Intercontinental Hotel in Jimbaran is, actually. Oh, I just spotted this. It's a Harley shop. Look at this. Everyone says that Harleys can be really expensive here. Depends what you've got, I guess. Hello. That's showroom. All the Harleys inside. Nice. So if you're moving to Bali and you want to get a Harley, this is where you come, I guess. Interestingly, Indonesia has a really thriving Harley scene, but also a thriving custom motorcycle scene. There's lots of artisans here that know how to do stuff to customise big bikes. And if you're ever interested in exploring that a little bit more here in Indonesia, every couple of years there's an event here in Bali called Custom War. Keep your eye out for that, because Custom War is something that you have to go and attend if you love custom motorbikes and you love Bali. Like, it's fantastic. As I get further and further south along here, I'm feeling a lot more tourist infrastructure, a lot more spas, a lot more shops catering towards tourists. And it changed really quickly. Like, it changed within about 100 metres. You got a lot of different businesses sort of popping up. And I guess that's something to do with the location with the Intercontinental, because that's just up here. So this is the Intercontinental property here. And it's almost like within 200 metres of that the business has changed. You can sort of see like a spa and salon, and then another spa and salon, and then a money changer. Like, it really changed so quickly. Another big hotel over there called the Balkis Heritage Hotel, and the Karma Royal Jimbaran. I don't know if that's the same place. I think it must be the same place. It's got the same driveway anyway. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. There it is, the Intercon. That's got a pretty good reputation, that one, actually. It's been there for such a long time. I've never been inside, but it's got a pretty good reputation. Yeah, I reckon if you stayed there, you'd be pretty happy. Ooh, they've got a Bull's Coffee across the road. Got to go and get a coffee from there. I know Bull's from Sanur, which is one of my favourite coffees in Sanur. Let's go and have a look at it. It's in sort of a row where there's a fruit shop, and then a laundry, and also Bull's. Hello. So I've got my large cappuccino, let's give it a go. I know the coffee at Bulls is usually pretty good. That's a good one. Actually, the one in Sanura, sometimes it's not always the best. So I think sometimes in Sanura it depends on who you get that makes it. I got this thing as well, which is a Choco Danish. I know these things are good, they heat them up for you and the chocolate melts, and then you've got Choco Banana Danish actually, and then the banana in there as well. All of that is 81,500. Thank you, Taras and team. See you, bye-bye. All right, let's get going. Keep going across here. I might, Taras there, I was just having a chat to him. He said, I go down to the beach up here. So that's still the intercon there. And then because we're a little bit more elevated now, apparently you can go up here and turn right and go down to the beach. So I might do that. By the way, these footpaths along this section here are really nice. They sort of feel like the style that they've sort of come up with in Sanur as well. They're those low-level ones that don't sort of go up and down on all the driveways like they used to do here in Bali. And they've done all the drainage as well. Very similar to the way they've done it in Sanur. It actually feels a lot more lively now that I've come past the intercon there. So going south past intercon sort of livens it up a bit. I'm going to go right here. So that's up to the Bukit and the Uluwatu area and Ungasan and all that sort of place. So I'm going to come down here because apparently this goes down to the beach. It's an interesting spot, this Jimbaran. I'm glad I've come here actually, because sometimes you sort of have an impression of a place that's based on information that's from a long time ago and a little bit incomplete. So getting on the ground and walking it, it's sort of giving me a fairer idea of what it's like here on this main road. In the past few videos, I've been talking about how the weather has gotten cooler than it had been in the past. And I sort of try and make that point to say that, hey, it's not that bad at the moment. The weather is quite pleasant. But someone in the comments sort of asked, hey, rather than just saying it's cooler or hotter, can you give me the exact temperature so that we have an idea of what it's really like? And there's a few reasons why that's not really possible. The first one being that getting an accurate temperature here is quite difficult unless you carry around your own thermometer. You know, if you look on your phone and look at the temperature that's on your phone, that's like a predicted temperature, it's not actual. It doesn't account for wind, which actually makes a big difference. And the humidity, hello. And obviously the humidity is a big factor in how hot it feels. It's a massive factor. You know, when you get those 90% humidity days, they can make it feel a really good 5 degrees hotter. So that's the main reason for it that I don't specify, because it's just not possible to get the temperature most of the time. But even if I could, it's not really going to help too much, because then there's other factors that go into how it feels. So yeah, that's why I just say, oh, it's hotter or feels hotter or colder. That's the La Meridian over there. I just walk down this road. Oh, I've got a footpath. I might try that. Got a footpath over here. I suppose the bottom line when it comes to temperature here in Bali when you're at sea level is that it's always hot. Always, always, always hot. It's never cold. You never need a jumper. I've had a few days when I've felt when the wind's blowing in the middle of the cooler season, early in the morning, I've felt sometimes where I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind having a long sleeve shirt on, but that is so rare, so rare. Of course, when you get up to the mountains, it does get a lot cooler. But even then, it rarely gets freezing cold. It's cold enough for a long sleeve, for sure, but never freezing cold. But there definitely are places in Indonesia where it gets freezing cold. Like one place that I know that I froze like you wouldn't believe one time was a place called Dieng. And that place was just... So Dieng is at over 2,000 metres above sea level on Java. And at the time, I don't know if it's changed these days, but at the time, none of the hotels have heating. So at night, it gets really cold. So they give you a heap of big, thick blankets, but your arms, if you're sitting up in bed, because you can't sit outside of bed, even sort of like at 6 o'clock at night, you're just sort of hanging out, playing on your phone or whatever, you can't, it's so cold you have to be inside the bed. Your arms are cold, your head's cold. That place is a really cold place. And sometimes in winter, or the cold seasons, they do get frost. Okay, we're down at the beach now. This is about as far south as you can get as far as beaches go down here in Jimbaran. So let's have a look at what it's like. Decent looking beach though, isn't it? Oh, this is a nice area of the beach, isn't it? This is really beautiful down here. Nice area. It's actually much nicer here, even though the sand is not as white. It's a much nicer beach here than I think way up there, which is where I started from, like, I don't know, somewhere over there, many kilometres away. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful colour as well. Well, that's just about it for me, I think, today down here in Jimbaran. I've really enjoyed checking it out and reacquainting myself with what it's like down here, and perhaps showing you a thing or two that maybe you haven't seen before, or giving you a bit of an update on what things are like here in Jimbaran. I really appreciate you coming along for the ride today, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.